Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Monday. Happy Monday to you. Happy beginning of the week to you. The last week ended with explosive protests all across Europe. Well, that's not entirely true. All across regimes supported by Putin. And I'll just give you a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about in this video. We'll begin with a meme, believe it or not. Poland needs Kaliningrad for national security reasons. And this is true. They do. They should split it with Lithuania. I mean, Kaliningrad was part of Lithuania. It was part of Poland, both. And now it's unnecessarily Russia. So if you can do something about it, Poland, in the future, we would back you. Also, Poland, put the gun away. Poland just wants to talk to Russia a little bit with a shotgun. 15th of March, that was 2 days ago. It was really explosive. Just a sneak peek again. We're going to go through all of it. Serbians rallied against their government, and we're not just talking about a small protest, we're talking about the biggest protest in the European soil in the last 30 years. Hungarians rallied against their government. Romanians rallied against their, well, not against their government, but in favor of the EU. And we got even Italians rallying in favor of the EU, and Georgians who have been protesting for the last 6 months in favor of the EU. And on this photo, the three biggest protests have been combined here. I want to talk about all of them to you, but first we gotta get through the sponsor. My friends, we live in crazy times with the informational warfare going on right now, not only with Russia, but now also with the United States. This is why I need good friends, good assets to do my work. One of these good assets is Ground News, #1 news comparison site in the world. We begin, I just want to show you how great you can actually shift through what you want to read and what you don't want to read. You go to For You, here you can click whatever interests you have. You can select your own interests. I just click Ukraine and Ukraine war, and that's all I see. And from there, I'll go even tighter to select the information I really want to see. I've taken as an example for you an article, which I also talked about in a recent video. Musk says he won't turn off Ukraine's access to Starlink communication system. Before that, he previously threatened many times to do that. And 70 sources cover this news. So you see it's widely covered and everybody has their own different agenda. This is where Ground News comes into play. They help you shift through people's agendas, news houses' agendas. For example, 11 is leaning left, 4 sources leaning right, 5 are center. And here, bias distribution, we can also see based on colors already 55% leaning left and 20% leaning right. And here you can see all different titles from different news houses. You can see how the wording in titles gives you an idea of their agenda. Well, before we shift through them, you gotta keep in mind, it has to be high factuality or extremely, very high factuality. Everything below that, you don't even wanna click at all. There's also this ownership tab, shows you who owns the news house, because the owner always has an agenda. You can also see the ownership tab right next to the title right here. It's very easy way to shift through different titles, different news houses, and to find the one that you want to read, keeping garbage away from your brain. For example, Al Jazeera, be quiet, small man. Musk clashes with Polish PM over Starlink in Ukraine. I just covered this in my video. Musk actually replied to a Polish foreign minister, be quiet, small man, like he's some kind of a king after he threatened to turn off Starlink. Now, it's very important how news houses cover these kind of topics, because with the title and with your angle, you can divert people's opinions. This is why I gotta use an asset like Ground News in my videos, because I'm at the forefront of information warfare. With now Europe taking the lead in press and speech freedom, we need assets like Ground News. By the way, for a limited time, you can get the same plan I use every day for nearly half the price. Just go to ground.news/Artur or scan the QR code on the screen to get their unlimited access Vantage plan for just $5 per month. Or gift it to someone you know and have more informed conversations. Call out narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I only promote brands I vet, and I do hope you find Ground News as valuable as I do in my work. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video. My friends, I bring you Belgrade, the capital of Serbia. I bring you the biggest protest on the European soil in the last 30 years. This is almost 1 million people. The exact number is unknown actually. It was reported 500,000, then 800,000. Now some estimates say up to 1 million people are protesting in a country that has less people than 7 million, less than 7 million people. So almost 1/7, 1/6, something like that of the entire nation is protesting right now on the streets of Belgrade. This would be what? 50 million Americans, correct my math here. Look, if the same amount of people, percentage-wise, would be on the streets of America in one place, imagine how many people would that be. And just to give you an even more, just if you're listening to this, just if you're not watching the video, I know some listen to my videos as a podcast, just look at the screen for one moment. This is 1 million people. This is a beautiful sight. They're all united by the same goal. This is a pro-European Union protest. This is anti-Vučić. I mean, this is the authoritarian president of Serbia, 10 plus years. Anti-Vučić protest, pro-European protest. It's beautiful. And by the way, to show you how desperate this pro-Russian regime of Vučić in Serbia is, they used a subsonic weapon on the protesters. Check this out. The protesters right now are standing here on a 15-minute silence stand. And then the government used subsonic weapon. It blasts waves in a very focused way onto the crowd. And people say that it sounds like massive plane is just landing on top of it. It's so loud inside their head. Everybody's clearing the street. Look at that. They're using such weapons on the protesters, on their own people. It's very effective. They immediately cleared the streets. All right, now let's jump to Romania. Now, Romania, there was meddling in the election. Kaliningrad was banned from running again. There was a massive TikTok and Instagram campaign for him, paid by foreign agents, not Romanians. I mean, Elon Musk loves the dude. Kaliningrad was full pro-Russian, as much as you can be. And now he was banned, and people came up to the street now on the 15th. Pro-European Union protest. I love to see that. Beautiful. Look at that. That is the freedom-loving people of European Union. Ukrainian flag, Romanian flag, and the European Union flag. Great. And now we jump to Hungary because Viktor Orban's regime is again a pro-Russian regime. Very much so. Hungary is in European Union. They're one of the most authoritarian countries in the European Union, and this is their biggest opposition leader. This is Peter Magyar. Now, I gotta ask Hungarian people, I mean, is this his real name? Is his real name really Magyar and he's a Hungarian? If so, that is awesome. Magyar. He is saying, he's promising to the Hungarian people that Viktor Orban's winter will end. It's 10 plus years of his regime. It will end and a spring will come back to Hungary. I love to see it. These protests, for me, signal the fall of Putin's backed regimes all across Eastern Europe. All right, my friends, before we go on, I have 3 more topics for you. It's Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and Ukrainian war. I'm going to combine it all, but before I can go on, I got to thank the people who make it possible for me to do what I do. I'm very honored for you to devote that time, that 20 minutes of your day, and I'll take responsibility very seriously. I want to butcher some names who are monthly members of Buy Me a Coffee, and if you like what I do, the Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description below. We have Mark Sasaki, David Smoke, FCK Trump Andmaga, Ton Stewart, Peter Holman, and finally Someone. I think Someone is, when you don't want to write your name, you just put Someone. Hey, I love it. Don't change a thing. Keep it coming. If you're a monthly member, you will get this patch. It's as easy as that. Just write to me and buy me a coffee and I'll send that patch to you. Nothing more to do. Just write. I'll send it to you. You deserve it. All right, my friends. Now we get to the juicy topics, which is the American unelected, I'll say it again, unelected fascist president, which is Elon Musk. unelected fascist president. So how is Elon doing in USA? Ontario, Canada cancelled their 100 million contract with Elon Musk's Starlink. I'm glad. Mexico's business magnate and investor Carlos Slim, heads of Mexico America Mobile Telco, cancelled his $22 billion contract with Elon Musk's Starlink. I'm double glad. Political parties in Italy are urging Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni to cancel talks with regarding a 5-year and 1.6 billion Starlink deal. I'm triple glad. As of March 11th, 2025, Elon Musk's Tesla shares sank over 15%, bringing its total 2025 losses to over 40%. This plunge erased about $127 billion from Tesla's market value. I am quadruple glad about this. In February 2025, Elon Musk Tesla reported a 49% year-on-year decline in China sales. Now, Elon was really happy to open their gigafactory in China, but China's EVs are just so damn cheap and so damn effective. Hey, I'm not a fan of China, but they're flooding the world with their EVs, and Tesla, in my personal opinion, is just a pile of garbage. So I'm so glad these sales are plummeting, and it's not only China, it's the EU. We don't like fascists here on our soil. We're not gonna buy Tesla. If you own a Tesla, sell it. Sell it now. I gotta tell you, I hope to God this unelected bureaucrat Elon Musk goes broke. I do agree with this text, and I'm glad to read this. Now, everything I just talked about, I just want to give you some visuals. Also, Cybertrucks are destroyed all across America. Well, first of all, because they're so easy to destroy, because they're really plastics and glue. That's all they are. I'm gonna show it to you later. But here is a truck carrying Cybertrucks that are destroyed. They're going to be fully squashed into a cube, I think. Look at that. A beautiful sight. Cybertruck represents everything that is fascist in my eyes. Don't buy it. Don't own it. It's really bad. And I bring you, just to illustrate what I just talked about, I want to bring you Whistling Diesel, the man, the myth, the legend. I really like the dude because he says how it is. He doesn't play around. He doesn't go along with the hype. Oh, Cybertruck's going to be a strong vehicle. It's garbage, like Elon Musk. It's rotten inside. I'm gonna watch the whole minute of this clip.
I did notice one slight issue. No way.
Yes, I love it. Do the same to Elon. Dismantle his fascist rotten brain and dog just like you're dismantling this Cybertruck.
Oh my God, 3 fingers.
3 fingers.
It's all one piece of the body. Oh yeah, they don't use house parts for their trucks. Now let's see how the mirrors compare to the F-150 mirror.
Okay, F-150 Ford, right? I mean, it's the pinnacle. It's the main produced American truck. It's the smallest version, of course. But here in Europe, we have kind of great respect for the Ford's F-150. We like it here in Europe. Let's see how it compares to Cybertruck. I've driven these F-150s to Ukraine myself. We love that vehicle. We're going to give them Hiluxes and F-150s. F-150 is part of like 3 brands we use for the Ukrainian army. We give these cars. They're very good cars. Look at how strong the mirror is.
Okay. This one's going to be good.
Look at that.
Absolutely pathetic. You did not build a truck. You built a little kitty baby little
I love Whistling Diesel. He says it how it is. I'm gonna say it.
Tyke's car. Did everything that truck did. Still runs, still drives, could go across the country right now. This, not so much. Can't do anything at all.
Oh my God, it's a pile of garbage. I'm not gonna waste your time anymore on this. You get the point. I just enjoyed, visually I enjoyed this very much. And now, again, I wanna say it again. If you own a Tesla, sell it right now. Sell it with a loss if you have to, but if you don't want to be owning and funding a fascist person who runs America unelected, you gotta sell your Tesla. Look at that. That's a Cybertruck with a Toyota written in the back because they don't want to be associated. Hey, don't write Toyota on the back of your Cybertruck. Sell it. Get rid of that pile of garbage. not a Toyota. Toyota actually is a very well-built vehicle. I have a lot of respect for Toyota. So don't ruin Toyota's name by putting it in the back of this fascist truck. All right, my friends, we continue with Musk. It's almost over the topic. I have 3 more topics picked out for you. Musk has 220 million followers in X. Most of them are bots because most of them, the persons who follow Musk have like 0 followers and they only follow 1 person. So they're just bots. But Musk is trying to twist the narrative to such an extreme, nonsensical Russian disinformational angle that it was Ukraine that started the war by attacking Russia. Musk is the reason they don't have free speech in America anymore. Musk is the reason, with Donald Trump. I would read you, I hate to give like platform to Elon Musk like that, but just to illustrate, he is, I don't want to read it to you, but he is describing how Ukraine attacked Russia. It was Russia in 2014 who attacked Ukraine by occupying Crimea illegally and then funding and weaponizing some very, very aggressive far-right people in Donbass, and then weaponizing and funding of course, Igor Kirkin, who shot down the plane, civilian airliner. Everybody knows that in the free world, and now it's the unelected fascist president of the US who says it was Ukraine who attacked Russia. I mean, this is straight Kremlin's talking points coming from the top of the US. If you're from the US, join me. We're gonna fight this fascist regime together. There are massive campaigns, billboard campaigns in all across the US and also in Europe. People are actually paying money to put up these billboard campaigns because that is an investment into more free world in the future. You gotta put money into it to advertise that people understand that Tesla is a fascist vehicle. What car is this? This is not a Tesla. No, it's not a Tesla. Also, this is a Tesla dealership. Even they are putting up this stuff. Look at that. This is his own dealership. Nobody likes him. Don't buy a Tesla, my friends. Don't buy it. It's a pile of garbage. It's a garbage car. It's a bad vehicle. All right, this concludes my rant on Elon Musk. Now we're going to go on with my rant on Donald Trump, who, with Elon, I have to say, unelected fascist president. With Trump, I have to say, elected fascist president, because I do think Americans really did elect him. I don't think it was a fraud election. They did elect him. They wanted to find out, and they're going to find out. I mean, it's a country where people can elect whoever they want to elect. If they want to find out, they can elect somebody who makes them find out. And that's what's happening right now in the US. They're gonna find out. So here we have Saint Stupid, patron saint of economic collapse. Yes, that is Donald Trump. He wants to live forever. He really likes that image and that golden circle around his head. Well, he's got it. He's gonna be remembered as Saint Stupid. Trump has no idea how to deal with the Russians. Unfortunately, he has, I don't know why he's been to Russia. He has lived with the Cold War, with the, Soviet Union. He still has no idea how to deal with the Russians. Trump will say that he will speak to Putin on Tuesdays. That's tomorrow. And I quote, "We will be talking about land, we'll be talking about power plants," Trump said according to Reuters. So just to be clear, Trump is openly negotiating land and energy of Ukraine with Russia behind Ukraine's back. This is Molotov Ribbentrop all over again. I cannot stand by it. I cannot agree to it. I mean, I'm Estonian. We have been living with this stuff for centuries. We know how the Russians do, think, act. Russians will test you. They will test if you are in their sphere of influence or if you have your own thinking ability. Russians fed a totally fake narrative that Ukrainian troops are surrounded in Kursk. Totally made up, bogus. Ukrainians pulled out. And then Trump tweets, "We had a very good and productive discussion with the President Vladimir Putin of Russia. And there is a good way that this horrible bloody war can finally come to an end. But at this very moment, thousands of Ukrainian troops are completely surrounded." But so he fully accepts this Putin's bogus bubble of disinformation and tweets it to millions of Americans. This confirms to the Russian FSB that Trump is in their sphere of influence. Doesn't have the ability to think of its own. He just confirmed that he accepts their narratives. So now the FSB found that out. Now They are going to start processing him, feeding him stuff, playing with his mind slowly. This is, what the Russians are really good at, actually. This is their disinformation and propaganda machine is one of the best in the world. 10 times better than their army. Their army is garbage, but their propaganda works really well. And now the fascist elected president of the US has fallen into that pit. He just confirmed it by tweeting a Russian narrative that was just fed to him a few days before. Boom. The truth is, there is not a single area where Ukrainian soldiers are even remotely in danger of being circled. Instead, there is one combat area where encirclement is happening, and it's in Donetsk, where Russian forces are about to be cut off in the west of the town, if they didn't leave already. But yeah, in Donetsk, Ukrainians are trying to close the cauldron. I personally think Russians will pull out first. But it's the Russians here who are facing encirclement. Not a lot of troops, maybe 1,000, no more. This is the truth. All right, let's jump back to the economic policies. And one of the biggest things that Dogeye, the Elon Musk's, whatever jackhammer they want to call it, Dogeye is dismantling all of the agencies, rooting out fraud. But this is Donald Trump's motorcade that just arrived in Palm Beach Golf Club. He loves golfing. This weekend trip costs taxpayers between 3 to 4 million in 2 days. Dogeye should work to cut these out. It would make government much more efficient, and I do agree. They're cutting aid to homeless. They're cutting aid to teachers and children from Ukraine, for example. They cut that aid, and Trump is just golfing for 2 days, which costs a lot of money because all of these security and cars and everything, he loves to fly his chopper and all of that. That's where you should start. By the way, there is now an egg shortage in America. One of Trump's things before he was elected, his campaign was to blame Bidenomics, this is what he calls it, for egg shortage and egg prices going up. Well, egg prices have only risen ever since Trump took office. And now Trump needs to import, America needs to import from whoever can export the eggs. MAGA raged about America first and bringing back jobs. Now America can't even produce enough eggs. Denmark and Turkey are about to save the United States breakfasts. Finland already said no, they're not going to export to US. But Denmark and Turkey maybe are. But the thing is, Trump promised the end of the war in 24 hours. Boom, just fake, false, a lie. Trump promised to bring down the prices. The prices have only gone up and the eggs have gotten even more expensive. I remember making fun with the Americans over the Russians that they had this egg shortage in 2023. Well, now it's the US who has it because they have elected a pro-Russian president. This was a choice of many millions of Americans, and they have the freedom to make that choice. So now to illustrate, Trump came out again with speaking and showing us how economically illiterate he is. I love Canada, but the United States can't subsidize a country for $200 billion a year. You have to run your own country. Now again, I have to say, America is winning big time, and they have always been winning from having such trade partners, with trade being almost unregulated, not so much Trump wants to regulate it with tariffs and all of that stuff. America is strong, their economy is strong, the dollar is the leading currency in the world because US has such an amazing trade partners all across the world, and their economic system, the system they created, is accepted almost like 70% of the world. It's American-led system, economic influence, sphere, everything. Trump now is playing the game for his followers that they are the victim, but they are the kings of that system. America is the king and the main beneficiary of that system that they created. So this is just blatant lie. They're not subsidizing Canada, they are winning big time. America is the world hegemony power because Canada, Mexico, the EU, the free trade of the world. If that's going to calm down, America is going to calm down. Just to illustrate this point further, after years of intending to acquire F-35 fighter jets from the US, Turkey will now purchase 40 Typhoon fighters from Britain instead. Turkey was one of the original 9 partner nations in the F-35 program and had plans to purchase 100 F-35s. And here you might say, oh, okay, we don't need to sell to Turkey. We don't need to sell to anybody who doesn't want us. You know, that kind of, oh, we don't need you. Americans do need everybody who is buying. This is why America is great. I'll say that again. You don't need to make America great again. America is and has been great for the longest period of time. We grew up here thinking that it's the best country in the world. Everybody did that in Europe. Check this out. Just let's look at the sheer numbers. I mean, I don't want to just talk to you. Let's look at the sheer numbers. This is American weapons export, plain and simple. 2021, before the full-scale invasion, 50 billion in revenue in arms sales, US to the rest of the world. 2022, 50.8, same billion. 2023, when the orders start coming in because of American weapons performing so well in Ukraine, 80 billion. It's like, what, 60% increase. 2024, Bradley was performing well, HIMARS were performing well, F-16s performing well, 300 billion. Everybody's buying American. This is the F-35 orders, the HIMARS orders. I mean, we are buying the HIMARS. Everybody's buying American. Now, Trump is clowning around, wants to find out. This is a massive money revenue increase for Americans. This is why America is great. And Trump is right now dismantling this because people now, like Turkey and other countries, they're going to buy European Eurofighters, Rafales, Typhoons. They're going to buy South Korean. They're going to buy German. This is lost hundreds of billions in lost revenue for Americans. Let's take Canada and Portugal, for example. I mean, Canada is one of the original countries of the F-35 program. They just cannot get out of it. I know it. They're going to buy the F-35, I know. But Canada is now re-examining its plans to buy American F-35s. I don't think they're not going to buy it. I think they're still going to buy it. But this is really bad press. I'll say that again. F-35 gets cheaper and cheaper the more countries that order it. And it's a fantastic export product. It was massively over-budgeted, overpriced. But it has gotten way cheap. If you look at the price of the F-35 in the last 5 years, it has gone down like that because many countries order it. Now that countries maybe don't want to order it that more, maybe they go to Rafale or Typhoon or whatever they go to South Korea or Turkey's Kizilelma, you know, their unmanned fighter jet. F-35 will not get any more cheaper. The cheaper it is, the more countries want to buy it, the more money Americans will get. The less countries buy it, the more expensive it will get, and the less money Americans will get. So Donald Trump's clowning around really does hurt Americans' weapons export. Let's take another example. This is a newly elected Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, who just told Trump, we're cutting ties with America in favor of our real partners. What he means by real partners, Europe, of course, Europe. I mean, Canada has a really, really European culture and mindset. I was in America, in Canada, 24 in February. I did my North American tour of 2 weeks in 7 cities, 3 of them in Canada, 4 of them in US. And it was a stark contrast from Canada to the US and back again. I traveled around a lot. America is America. You go to Canada, you're almost in Europe. Canada is very European in their mindset, very European in their way of civil society, which is very different in America. So Canada puts massive amounts of money in the US budget, in the US revenues of everything, like exporting their aluminium and wood and energy and buying American weapons, exporting oil. All of that benefits both countries extremely. If that is going to be cut, we Europeans are going to win because Canada has a lot to give to us and we want to buy a lot. Americans are going to lose. All right, my friends, now we jump to Ukraine because there's a lot of good news coming from Ukraine. I really like it. Trump cut the aid to Ukraine for a few days to show that we have the leverage. We got the aid, you're gonna do what we want. Ukraine just proved their new Neptune with the range of 1,000 kilometers. It's an anti-ship missile originally, with a few hundred kilometers of range. Then Ukraine put 2 years into its development on the time of the full-scale invasion, and now, 2 days ago, they blew up Russian oil refinery in Tuapse, one of the biggest in the country, which is very far away from Ukraine, and they did it with a Neptune missile. It's almost fully composed of Ukrainian parts. It's not connected to America in any way. Trump just proved that he basically gave away his leverage over Ukraine, and he never had any leverage over Russia. The Russian port city of Tuapse is around 450 kilometers from the current front line. If the strike against Russian oil facilities was conducted by a Neptune missile, then it would mean that Ukrainians have substantially increased the range of that weapon system, unless it was conducted by something different like Palyanice missile, which was rumored range up to 700 kilometers. Either way, it paraphrases that Ukraine is increasingly focused to be less reliant on Western supplies and targets Russia with newer and more powerful weaponry. And this really frightens, two people in the world, Putin and Trump. Trump wants leverage over Putin and over Ukraine. By cutting Ukraine aid, this pushes Ukraine to develop internally more better weapons and all of that stuff, proving to the world and to Trump that he doesn't really have leverage over Ukraine. And Putin is really frightened because Putin wants Trump to have leverage over Ukraine because Putin has leverage over Trump. Now that Ukraine proved that they can hit targets inside Russia without Starlink and without United States long-range weaponry, Putin sees that Trump doesn't have leverage over Ukraine and that Ukraine can just attack Putin and Putin cannot do nothing about it because his dog Trump cannot do nothing about it. It's a crazy 4D chess, believe me. But the thing is, two people are very worried about this development. It's Putin and Trump. By the way, my friends, this one great video came out of the burning Tuapse oil refinery. This is a Russian passenger train and they're training around like they do in Russia, right? Reading a book and being a Rehi, just like you do in Russia on a casual Tuesday, and you look outside the window and this is Putin's stability. That is Putin's election campaign right now. Look at that stability. I've never seen so much stability in my life. It's fuming with stability. Damn, that stability is so hot, it's spontaneously combusting. Beautiful sight out of the window in Russia. That was it, my friends, for today. I will be back for you on Wednesday, so in 2 days. Be sure to be back. Subscribe and push the bell notification to be notified about my videos. Some videos don't get sent out. It's okay. I know I have good friends in Buy Me a Coffee, and this is why I want to send you out this patch. If you're a monthly member in Buy Me a Coffee, links in the description, just write to me and I'll be sending you this patch. It's as easy as that. Once a month I'll send them out, and everybody who joins up, new joiners, you will get it. You deserve it. Until my next video, my friends, Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye. Call out narratives and think critically about the stories shaping our world. I only promote brands I vet, and I do hope you find Ground News as valuable as I do in my work. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video.